Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Wyatt, and I'm a librarian at the Northeast State Bangor Library. This is a presentation for your Education 1030 College and Lifelong Learning class. You may be wondering why you need to know how to use the library. I mean, most everyone has access to the internet, so you should be able to find information about anything, right? Well, that's partly true. However, the full or the complete truth is a little bit more involved than that. The fact of the matter is that in today's day and age, we are all being flooded with all types of information. And that's where the problem arises. We all have to understand that not all information that is available is good information. Some of the information on the internet is made up of opinions, half-truths, or it's just completely wrong. The bottom line is that now that you're in college and writing college level papers, you need to be able to know what is good information and what is substandard. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's first do some pre-research. And what do I mean by that? Well, first we need to decide what exactly is it that you want to look up. What do you want to learn about? Or more specifically, what is your paper about? And to figure this out, we need to narrow down your topic. Let me explain how you do this. Let's say that you decide to do your paper on baseball. That's a great topic, but it's also a huge topic, which means you can talk about lots of things with this. Do you want to talk about, say, the history of baseball and talk about Jackie Robinson? Or maybe you want to talk about Little League baseball and how it helps children. Or possibly you want to talk about women in sports and how the women's baseball and softball teams were formed. You can also approach this topic from a medical standpoint and talk about injuries and treatments specifically to baseball, or even how steroid use has affected the sport and the athletes themselves. Or you might want to go in a completely different direction and talk about the image of baseball in movies and film and how this changes the perspective of the sport. So you see, there are many ways to look at the topic. So you have to decide what exactly it is that you want to say, and then you're ready to find resources to support your paper. So how do we do that? How do we find reliable resources when we're being bombarded with so many different interpretations of the same idea? This is where the library comes in. You're going to give your resources the CRAP test. First, you're going to look at how current is your resource. When was the information published or posted to the internet? Has it been revised or updated? If you're looking on the internet, are the links within the site functional and connecting to valid sources? Here's an example. In the Bangor Library, we regularly read our collection of outdated materials. Two sections that we routinely consider are the medical and computer areas. Why? Because technology is constantly changing in these areas, so usually anything that's over 5 years old is out of date. Next, you're going to consider the relevance of your information. Does the information relate to your topic or answer your questions? Let's go back to our topic of baseball. Let's say you're doing a paper on the Black Sox scandal of 1919, and you're talking about how this changed the sport. This is a good and valid research topic. But if you're looking into that, you wouldn't want to start talking about, say, maybe the movie Field of Dreams and how it changed your life, because that's not relevant to your paper on the Black Sox scandal. In other words, the movie has nothing to do with the scandal and won't give you any more valid information for your paper. Additionally, you should also make sure that your resources are relevant and that it fits the style of your paper. For example, using books or sites that are written on an elementary school level would not be appropriate for a college level project. Next, you should consider if the person who provided the information is an authority on the topic. In other words, who is the author and what are their credentials and affiliations? Is there contact information for the publisher or the author? Again, if you're using the internet, is the URL valid or does it reveal anything about the author or source? The next thing you should consider is the accuracy of the content. Is the information supported by evidence, or is the author simply giving their opinion or personal belief? Can the information be verified by other sources? And finally, what's the purpose for the information? What's the reason that the information exists? Do the authors or sponsors make their intentions clear? Is the information backed up with facts? Or is it simply just an opinion? Is the information free of political, cultural, or religious biases? So now you know what to look for in resources. But now, where should you look for information that you can trust? The first place you may want to look is the databases. The reason this resource is so important is that in your college projects, you'll be asked to use peer-reviewed articles. And most people wonder, what is a peer-reviewed article or professional article? A peer-reviewed article is one that has been written and reviewed by someone who is an authority on a specific subject matter. Okay, so what does that mean? Let me explain it this way. Let's say that I decide to write an article about Alzheimer's disease. I read books and I look at articles and I write an article and it gets published in Time magazine. And let's also say that at the same time, a professional doctor decides to write an article about Alzheimer's disease. The doctor does studies, administers tests, and gives medications, and then writes a paper. When it's completed, he has other doctors review the findings, and they agree that the information is valid and can be published. That's a peer-reviewed article. Which article would you rather a doctor use to treat your family member? The one that the librarian wrote, or the one that the doctor wrote? That's the difference between peer-reviewed articles and general articles. General articles are good, but peer-reviewed articles are better. So once you decide that you want to use peer-reviewed articles for your assignment, how do you find them? On the screen, you'll see the link for the library databases. You'll begin there, and the screen will look like this. You'll see that there's a wide variety of databases to choose from. Underneath the second blue bar, you'll notice there is a row of alphabet. If you click on one of these letters, it will allow you to go directly to a specific database by title. To narrow your topic to a specific subject, use the downward pointing arrow in the box that says All Subjects. For example, you can select one of the health science databases, or check out one of the political science databases, or even look at a history database. It really depends on what you want to learn about. But for our purposes, let's try using a broad coverage database. A broad coverage database is different from a subject-specific database because it covers many different topics. It's like a big net that you throw out and get lots of information back about your topic. Yes, some of the information may not be relevant to what you want to include with your research, but it will give you a wide variety of facts to consider. So let's look over here at the left side of the screen. There are several broad coverage databases you can choose from, but let's try Academic OneFile. Once the database comes up, you're able to begin your research. And keeping with our topic of baseball, let's enter that here in the search field. And press enter. Now the results from the search should be on the screen. But remember, we want peer-reviewed articles, right? So look over here to the right side of the screen and click on peer-reviewed articles or peer-reviewed journals. The database will automatically give you the search results that are peer-reviewed articles. From here, you can scroll through the articles and see which ones fit what you want to present in your paper or your project. Once you select an article and it comes up, you can then print it, email it somewhere, or download it to a flash drive. If you want to go back to your list of articles, you can simply click on the results arrow and it will take you back to your list. But what if you want books or other forms of information? You can access the library catalog from the Northeast State webpage at the following link. And from here, you can get books, articles, ebooks, CDs, DVDs, and online videos. Books and CDs may be checked out for 3 weeks, and DVDs may be checked out for 5 days. Also, all of these items may be sent to any of the Northeast State campuses. Let's do a quick search through the catalog to see what we can find. The library catalog screen looks like this, and you can enter your search term in the search field and press enter. Let's keep with our topic of baseball. And the list of items should now be on the screen. If you want to limit your search to a particular type of item, for example, books, you would click on the particular item type from the list on the left side of the screen. And your search will be narrowed to that item type or date range, and a list of appropriate items will come up. You can see here that there are several books in our library about baseball. For example, it shows that this book is available, and it shows the call number where it can be located on the shelf and that it may be checked out. Okay, so once you've found all of your resources and written your paper or finished your project, what happens next? You will need to make sure that you cite all of your resources correctly. There are several different styles for writing your paper, but while you're at Northeast State, you'll most likely be using the MLA or APA formats. To help you make sure that you're properly following the required format, there are guides on the library's website that will show you how to write your paper, document your sources, and make sure that your paper is written correctly. The guides can be found at the following links. Finally, if you need help, you can always contact a member of the library staff by calling, emailing, or sending us a chat. Chat is available when a library staff member is on duty during our open hours. And if you need more in-depth research assistance, you can schedule an appointment with a librarian at your convenience. Always remember that the library staff is here for you, and we're happy to help you with your research. Good luck.